So you shot a dialogue scene, but how do you edit it to make it engaging and captivating? This video, you'll learn some basic techniques and tools that will make your scenes more dynamic, smooth, and emotional. You don't know how to start editing your dialogue scene? Watch this video now and let's edit like a pro.
Hey Rebel Filmmakers, this is Reynaldo Cantu. Welcome to the channel.
To edit your dialogue scene, first, you need to have a clear idea of what your scene is about and what you want to achieve with it.
What is the purpose of the scene? What's the mood? Once you have that figured out, we can start editing.
Step 1. You'll need to create a rough cut of your scene. A rough cut is a preliminary version of your scene that shows the basic structure and flow of your shots. For this, you'll need some footage of your dialogue scene. You should have filmed your scene with different camera angles and shots, like a master shot, close-ups, hidden shots, reaction shots, and cutaways. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my other video on how to film a dialogue scene. Having different shots will help you edit your scene better and make it way more interesting.
By the way, what is the one thing you should always do when you film a dialogue scene?
It will save you a lot of trouble when you edit it later.
I'll tell you in a minute.
2. Start with a master shot to show the characters and where they are. For example, in this scene, it's a dialogue scene, but it's also tense and suspenseful.
It's about two characters that are running away from a zombie attack. I do have this master shot that I did. In this case, I don't want to start with the master shot because I want them to feel more suspense. So,
I start with this shot of a door. It's not a master shot, but it's a two-shot that shows the relation between the characters and the space. I wanted to start with a little mystery to make the audience curious about why are we watching a door and what's behind it. Then we see our characters come in quickly and shut the door with fear. The audience will wonder what's going on and why they're so scared.
So here, the characters begins to speak, and we start with her. In step 3,
switch between close-ups or medium shots of each person when they talk. Close-ups are good for showing the emotions and expressions of the characters, but don't use them too much. Only use them when you want to show a strong emotion or make the audience feel closer to the characters. If you use them all the time, they will lose their effect because the audience will get used to them.
And because of that, I don't want to use too many close-ups in this part of the scene. I have this medium shot that I did. That's the one I'm gonna use.
Oh my god, what were those things?
I don't know.
Oh, I forgot. By the way, guys, this scene is original in Spanish. So what I'm gonna do is to dub it in English with AI voices. It's not perfect, but bear with me, okay? Just for the sake of this tutorial. And it's fun too, so let's do it.
Oh my god, what were those things?
I don't know. They came out of nowhere.
What are we going to do now?
When you edit a dialogue scene with two characters talking to each other, you usually want to use the sound from each character's take when they talk. This way, you get the best sound quality and sync for each actor. When she talks, I use the sound from her take. When he talks, I use the sound from his take.
I'm using the audio from each take that we're looking at.
So just use the best takes of each dialogue or part that show the information or emotion you need for the scene. Don't worry about the details like the reaction shots. We'll deal with them in the next steps. Now that you've finished your rough cut of the whole scene, let's move on to the details we mentioned.
Strong. You saw how they went through Oscar? It looked like it was made of cardboard.
The dubbing is brutal. Those are AI voices, so... But well, you can understand what's going on, right? So that's what it matters.
Those things are very strong. You saw how they went through Oscar? It looked like it was made of cardboard.
Step 4, use reaction shots of the characters, but only when it matters. I like how the scene begins, but since this is more like a suspenseful scene and I want to make it more dynamic, I'm gonna insert her reaction. That way I think the scene fluids better and it's more dynamic. I think his take is a little long.
I don't know. They came out of nowhere.
And I want to see what's going on with her too. So while he's still talking, I'm going to insert her reaction.
I don't know. They came out of nowhere.
And I think that makes the scene better.
I don't know. They came out of nowhere.
When you want to show reaction shots from the other character or something else in the scene, it's better to keep the original sound of the take and just add the image over it. This way, you don't have sound differences and the cut looks smoother. For example, here he is talking and the sound is from his take. When we cut to her reaction, I just added the image of her on his soundtrack until she talks again. I do the same thing with her soundtrack when he reacts. Step 5. Use cutaways when something in the environment is important. Cutaways are shots that show something else besides the main characters or action. They can show details, objects, or events that matter for the dialogue or the story. For example, I use this shot of the stick on the door handle to make the scene more tense and to highlight this action. It depends on what your scene needs. Maybe you need to show what the character is looking at, or you need to cut away to something that the audience needs to see in the scene. In this case, you use the same tip I told you before of using the sound from the main take. Step 6. Use L and J cuts to make the scene smoother and more energetic. An L cut is when the sound of the previous scene keeps playing after the image changes. A J cut is when the sound of the next scene starts playing before the image changes.
Hey, Gordy, I got something for you. This, my friend.
This makes the transition smoother and makes us curious about what's next. For example, I used an L cut here, where we still hear her voice talking, but cut to him over her voice before he starts to speak.
What were those things?
I don't know.
What were those things?
I don't know.
Or here I used a J cut, where we see the door in this shot, but we hear the second door bang from the next shot before we cut to it. These techniques are very popular and useful in film and video editing. They help to create a natural flow and rhythm. Step 7. Use the background sound of your location to smooth out the cuts.
Do you remember the one thing I said you should always do when you film a dialogue scene? Well, it's to record the background sound of your location.
When you are on location, I suggest that you record at least a 1-minute sound of your location with the same microphone you use for the dialogue. Don't make any noise and just record the background sound. This sound can help you when you edit your scene. Sometimes when you cut from one shot to another, the sound condition in the location might change. And when you put your shots together, you might hear a sound bump. This will make each cut more obvious and might distract your audience from the story. To avoid this, you can use the background sound that you recorded before and put it under the main dialogue sound of the scene. This way, each cut will be less noticeable and sound better overall. If you didn't record the background sound of your location, you can find a moment in your shots when the actors were not talking and you can hear the background sound alone. Or you can use ambient sounds from a sound library. Step 7. Now it's time to polish your rough cut. Add some audio transitions between your clips to make the sound smoother and more natural. Watch the scene a few times and see how it feels. Is the story and the message clear enough for the audience? Is it too long? Maybe you can trim some parts. Always try to convey the same information in the shortest way possible. It will make your movie better.
Of course, there are more advanced steps like audio design, color correction, and so on, but I'll save those for another video. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss them.
Wait, do you want to see the scene? Okay, this is not the final cut, okay? This is without music, color correction, audio design, nothing. Just a rough cut, okay? Here we go.
Oh my God, what were those things?
I don't know. They came out of nowhere.
What are we going to do now?
Those things are very strong.
You saw how they went through Oscar? It looked like it was made of cardboard. Oh my God. Help me!
Let it go.
What do you think of the scene? Tell me in the comments. And guys, if you like this video, you should watch this next one. You're going to love it. This is Reynaldo Cantu, and I'll see you in the next Rebel Filmmakers video.
You saw how they went through Oscar? It looked like it was made of cardboard.